Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast, and we've got a jam-packed Texas Tech football recruiting video for you today, as the Red Raiders did not just land one, no, not two, not three, not four, but five DBs this weekend, whether that was through the high school recruiting ranks or through the transfer portal. Now, before we get started, I've got to ask you, hey, like the video if you want more Texas Tech football videos. I'll ask you a couple other questions later on, but I know y'all want me to get started on this because, again, big-time weekend for Texas Tech football. I'll say this. I don't think there's a more happy man in all of West Texas than Texas Tech's secondary coach and passing game coordinator, Marcel Yates. Have a weekend, young fella. My goodness, you get 5 guys added to your secondary, 4 through the high school ranks, and then 1 through the transfer portal. If you want to know about the first 2 that committed in Ashton Hampton, and then you got Peyton Morgan, as well. That'll be in the previous video, but we're going to talk about the latest 3, and we will start with a transfer portal target for the Red Raiders that committed to Texas Tech from Baylor. It is AJ McCarty. Now, you may know this name. He did have a pick 6 against the Red Raiders last year in the 806, Tyler Shuck, but this is a nice pickup, in my opinion, for Texas Tech. You kind of look at what's been going on here with AJ McCarty. He committed on Sunday, July 2nd. He will have 2 years of eligibility remaining, will the DB. He started only 2 games last year for Baylor, but also played in a lot of games as well, right? Recorded 38 total tackles, 32 solos, 1 pick. As I mentioned, it was a pick 6, unfortunately, against Texas Tech. But then he also had 3 pass breakups as well. Stands at 5'11", 180, versatile, can play outside or inside. I would expect him to be moving around a little bit. But to me, when I saw this is one of those guys that could be portrayed as a Rashad Williams security type ad, right? Like you had another guy from Fresno State as well, but now you're a little bit deeper in terms of your secondary where you can mix and match guys, right? Where AJ can play inside, he can also play outside, but you have security just in case there is an injury. And let's be real, injuries are part of the game. So to have that depth is a big-time deal for Texas Tech, specifically from a guy like AJ McCarty, who is versatile enough to play inside or outside when it comes to the corner position. In my opinion, he will no doubt be at least on the 2 deep, right? Could see him start a game or 2 for the Red Raiders if necessary, but he's going to be an instant impact rotation guy in the secondary for the Red Raiders as soon as week 1 up in Laramie, Wyoming. Now, he should be on campus at the start of summer 2, which I believe starts next Monday at the time of this recording, which would be July 10th. Okay, so he should be there for when really things start picking up heavily for football. Right? That's when things really start picking up with the summer workouts. You're only about 30 days away from fall camp officially starting, right? This is where the workouts start up. This is where he gets to learn the playbook, and he can be a guy that comes in and makes an instant impact for the Red Raiders. Now, I know this is just one guy in the secondary, but I want you to talk and answer one question for me about the whole Texas Tech secondary, and that is give me one word to describe the Texas Tech secondary in 2023. Mine is probably experienced, but I want to hear from you guys, and we're going to talk about a couple other guys that will be, in that Texas Tech secondary next year. But before we do that, answer that and give me one word to describe the Texas Tech secondary in 2023. All right, let's talk about the first high school recruit, technically the last high school recruit for Sunday, July 2nd, and that is Oliver Miles III, a 3-star athlete from El Campo High School, a 6'1", 180-pound athlete, committed to Texas Tech on Sunday, July 2nd, was one of 3 high school commitments, 4 total for the Red Raiders, because AJ McCarty did officially announce his commitment to the Red Raiders as well. Multi-sport athlete. Stop me if you've heard that before when it comes to Texas Tech recruiting under Joey McGuire. He played multiple sports in terms of football, basketball, track and field, and he's pretty damn good at all of them, to be honest with you. He had offers for football from Notre Dame, Baylor, Houston, Nebraska, and others, but instead chose the Red Raiders. And when I talk about an athlete, he's just that. He placed first in the Texas 4A triple jump as a junior last season, was named the Texas District 12 4A D1 Utility Player of the Year as a junior in 2022. He literally did all of these things last year for his El Campo team. He was a passer. He rushed the football. caught the football, punted the football, and also defended the football, obviously, as well, as he played mostly as a DB. In the truest sense of the word, he is an athlete, and that is what Texas Tech has been going after at a high rate, right? If you listen to James Blanchard on this Twitter space this past week, he mentioned, hey, we have this formula. If you meet this in terms of on the track, we're going to offer you because we know it'll translate onto the field. He obviously didn't go into depth or anything like that because you don't want other programs taking it, but it makes a lot of sense, right? And they go after another track star in Oliver Miles III. They weren't done there, as on Monday, July 3rd, right before the holiday, they signed got the commitment from, I should say, Isaiah Collins, a 3-star corner. And when I say he is a behemoth in the secondary for the Red Raiders potentially, I truly mean it. 6'3", 185 cornerback out of Huntsville. Committed on Monday, as I mentioned at the time of this recording, a true track star, okay? He had offers from Oregon State, Utah, Baylor, Houston, and a few other schools as well. But he runs the 400-meter, the 200-meter, and he also participates in the high jump as well. He's a guy that is a true athlete, just like Miles is as well. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is what Texas Tech football has pinpointed as the guys that they want. They want to go out and get the best athletes they can, and they trust their coaches to coach them up. And that's how it should be, right? But you look at some of the physical measurables from the guys that Texas Tech added this past weekend in terms of height and weight. You've got a 6'3" guy, a couple of 6'1" guys, and Peyton Morgan, obviously Miles, and then also Ashton Hampton. My goodness, you've added so much height in there. And then not to mention you add an instant impact guy in AJ McCarty, who has obviously played at the Big 12 level, has had some success as a rotational piece. I expect him to have a little bit bigger of a role for the Red Raiders this season, but a guy that you can trust when it comes to playing at the Power 5 level. And now you go out and solidify this recruiting class with a bunch of DBs. Marcel Yates is got to be ecstatic about it at this point in terms of how many guys they've gone out there and the measurables that they've obtained when it comes to these recruits, right? That's one thing. You can't teach a guy how to be 6'3". You can teach him how to play football at that point, but you got the athletes and the athleticism that they need to possess to be impact guys in the Big 12. And Texas Tech has done a great job of targeting those guys and have done so yet again this weekend. Again, multiple guys. You get Peyton Morgan, a 4-star safety. You get Ashton Hampton. Then you get Oliver Miles III, Isaiah Collins, and then you get AJ McCarty out of the transfer portal. Listen, that's a hell of a weekend for the Texas Tech secondary. And the thing is you're going to see all of these guys potentially on campus next year because, again, McCarty has 2 years of eligibility remaining. But, again, you get 5 players added to your DB room potentially if you're Texas Tech. I'm telling you right now, Marcel Yates is by far the happiest guy in West Texas. All right, got to ask you, like the video if you are excited about what you're seeing the Red Raiders do on the recruiting trail for football. Again, ranked in the top 25 right now, according to 24/7, top 30 according to Rivals when it comes to the recruiting class, and they're not done yet. They'll be adding a few more. Right now, they sit at 15 commits, potentially 16. 16 actually sounds right now that I think about it. Remember, Joey McGuire said about 18. I bet they get to 19 when it's all said and done. But this is going to be one of the greatest classes that Texas Tech football has ever had. Again, like the video if you're excited about what the Red Raiders are doing on the recruiting trail. And if you haven't already, join the Back to 12 squad. Join the membership. I'll have the link down below in the comments where you can instantly join and have priority access to all your comments answered right away. But I'd be remiss not to tell you, if you want the latest breaking news when it comes to Texas Tech football and men's basketball all year long, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button to stay in the know right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.